What's happening, people? What's happening? I didn't get to stream yesterday, yeah? Hope you guys can all hear me, yeah? I didn't get to stream yesterday. So that's my bad, but I'm streaming every single day. So I'm very sorry for yesterday. Big up Cali King. Big up Daniel Knight, just always supporting the channel, as always. Big up every single one of you in here. In the UK right now, I think it's 20 past 11. It's been a long day. Arsenal just lost. How's everyone doing, man? Don't forget, yeah, this is the main thing, yeah? I'll link as soon as I get out the gym up the Chelsea for the win. 100%. Yeah, man. Big up. Do your thing, and you join. We want to hit 2,000 subs. Do you know what I'm saying? So before I went on holiday, I averaged 100 subs a week. So I want to try and hit that again, because when I'm posting consistently, I feel like I can do it, okay? So that's what we're aiming for. We could definitely love Arsenal. But yeah, we're going to talk on Spawn directors. We're going to speak on the players. The first win we've had, 2 wins in 8. I haven't got too long. So my guy here, the perfect guest, and man like Cali as well, if he joins in time. Got Dennis with me, he's very good at breakdown, analytical. I'm going to add his pinned, YouTube in the description below for all you in the playback. But big up, Den in the building, sorry. Couch, in the cut. What are you saying, bro? From Canada.
Yo, what are you saying, man?
Not America,
man.
Canada, by the way. Not America.
Full on. Definitely Canadian. T-Dot is representing, but yeah, man, feeling good, man. Feeling good. It was good to see us get a win the other day, finally, see Maresca come through and make some proper tactical switches at halftime to impact the win. And, we move. We just need to see more of that going forward.
How are you in general, though? Because we haven't spoken since before that.
Yeah, how you feeling? A little under the weather. I'm not gonna lie. The Canadian winter can catch you quick, but
I was about to say, what time does your snowy period end? When is this end for you guys?
When does it end? Who says it ends? What are you talking about? No, I'm joking.
Never ends.
It's usually into March.
Yeah.
In and around there.
Because your country reminds you of like European countries where in the winter it's very cold, but in the summer it's very warm. It's the same as those. England's one of the only countries where it's not like it gets hot, but it's not like Mediterranean hot. A lot of the countries in Europe are very close to Mediterranean, like Turkey, Albania, all these countries that are in Europe, they get really hot as well.
It depends on where you are, though. It's like if you're on the West Coast, they don't get a lot of snow. They're more like a temperate rain, so Vancouver and them places.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a lot of rain and stuff, not as much snow as here, but they still get dumped on. Don't get it twisted, but it is what it is.
Yeah. About to say, but yeah, man. Hopefully, Cash gets better. Chelsea actually got a win, which will make you feel a little bit better as well.
Hell yeah.
Where should we start? Well, we'll start with the actual win itself. The win was needed, so we'll talk about how important the win was. The win basically means that we're in a strong position. I know it's weird to say because there's still 15 games left, 14 games left, sorry. But because we've played Man City twice, because we've still got to play Newcastle in the league, right? Yeah, we got to play Newcastle in the league. We still got to play Forest. In terms of in our hands, it's in our hands.
Forest is the last game of the season, right? So
so it's literally in our hands. If we do our job, we're going to make top 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our hands, but again, I don't know if I can go by that. I don't know if I can go by that, because this team is just so inconsistent, right? And when we talk about it's in our hands, it's in our hands. It's in everybody's hands at this point in time. And like the only thing that keeps it within your hands is consistency. And this team just hasn't shown that they can do that. Too young.
No, they just haven't done it recently.
I can't remember when they were consistent, to be honest. I can't remember.
We won 5 games in a row.
Yeah, that's one stretch of the season. I'm talking about reeling off 6, 7, 8. That's how you compete for titles, right? You hit 5 in a row, then you hit a dry spell, you lose 2, maybe you draw 1. Then you go right back to winning again, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the trot. We don't do that. We have a hot spell where we're playing well, then we go cold, and then we try and recover from there. So it's difficult, man. It's difficult to say that this is consistent.
Well, I do agree with you, 100%. By the way, like I'm only saying this, not devil's advocate, but just like the other side of the
Mhm.
coin. You don't need to be super consistent to get top four, though. So
Well,
what I mean by that is, let me make it clear. It's like even with our 2 wins in 8, we're still in top four. So we don't even need to be on like a 5 game winning run to get top four. If, for example, even if we beat Brighton, if we
mhm,
draw against Brighton, no, if we beat
mhm.
Brighton, then lose against Villa, and then beat Leicester and Southampton. Oh yeah, that's what 2 wins in 4. That'll be enough. Even with those results.
You don't know that though, because like right now, what we're 2 points up, 2 points.
No, but the same way we're 2 points up of City. I think we're
Yeah,
only 3-4 points away from Nottingham Forest.
yeah, 4 points. Yeah, so like essentially, what I'm saying is, w- we can't be looking at, like I'm saying, that you're still gonna have to be dependent on other results, right? Whether or not you stay up or you go down.
Yeah.
So it's harder to say one way or the other that, like, if we do this, if we do that, then we'll be all right, because we're
Hmm.
not well in the clear. We're still dependent on other results before we can figure out where we're going to sit, right? So I'm feeling you. Like, I want to stay optimistic, and I think that it's important to keep your head up, especially after a win where it looked like we started to figure a few things out. But I don't know, man. This team, man, it's gonna be the death of me. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you think about the game in general? I'll give you the breakdown.
Mm,
So yeah, the Felix. I was gonna make a video on this, but I didn't have time.
yeah.
So the game literally was a bit different to the other games. Actually, usually we're like on top by quite a lot, and then we dominate. We miss those chances, but this time I feel like it was very tight. The game wasn't. It wasn't a high quality game in terms of chances and stuff. We done our thing. I still think we created a few chances on the
Hmm.
break, especially
Hmm.
Madueke missing a sitter. Enzo missed a chance. Jackson, I think, could have squared it or whatever it is. And then they score actually. So we actually went behind.
Hmm.
Mistake from Cole. We already know, Couch. Our defense is, if people don't know what this means in tennis and racket sports, unforced errors is essentially where you literally do an error that's not even, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, not antagonized, but like, you know what I'm trying to say in it. Not
Yeah, of course.
thrown upon you. Yeah, it's just out of the ordinary. In a normal situation, you don't make that pass call. So that's what unforced errors. People don't know what that means. Because you have an unforced error in us, we would know we can concede a goal all the time. Every game, we're going to concede at least one. Even Southampton the other day, we beat them 6-1 where we conceded a goal. And then we went behind the half time. That was the maddest thing. We went behind the half time. And at that
Hmm.
point, I know for a fact everyone in this chat, everyone watches back. And then me and myself were like, rah, this is really bad. Like,
Yeah,
this is really bad. Because at the end of the day, Couch, yeah, this is a fact. We've had decent performances, but no results. So
absolutely.
Monday was a day where the result mattered more than the performance.
Yeah,
And we weren't even
yeah,
getting the
absolutely.
result.
Yeah. So here's my take on it. I think that game, first half in particular, we were just dead. We weren't really creating enough. Trying to go through the middle, they packed out the middle. We tried to go out wide to Madueke and Sancho. And for me, Madueke, he just doesn't think the game well enough to play out there consistently, right? Like, his decision making is just consistently poor. And that was the only real way that we can break down what West Ham were doing, was if we went out wide. So we kept on going back there, kept on going back there, kept on going back there with absolutely no results, nothing to show for it. So I was frustrated at halftime because I didn't see anything that resembled a game plan that was conducive
Mhm.
to us winning. Nothing. I was you were in the chat. You saw what I was saying. I was like, this is
Facts.
bullshit, man. I called out Colwell long before the error for the goal. I called out Madwake. I was calling out men like left, right, and center because I was just upset with what I was seeing. This is the first. I don't often get upset when I'm watching Chelsea play because I'm usually just like pretty level headed, as you show. I'm sure you know.
Of course, you usually
But
are, yeah.
yeah, so when I was watching this game, it was just frustrating me to know that, you know, we we haven't yet we haven't really come to grips with what we need to do to win games, and we're not varying the tactics enough to give some team something else to think about, right? So that's kind of where I was the whole game until, of course, the second half, where he didn't come out. It's funny too, because like Maresca didn't come out. He didn't change anything at halftime. He waited like maybe 5 minutes into the half
Yeah, it
into the
was
second
weird.
half.
So, do you think he told them? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think he told them? Do
Yeah.
you think he told them the message, and then saw enough 5 minutes in? He was like, "Yeah, brush it."
But I don't
Like,
even know if there wasn't even enough. Like, I just think if you're gonna make those changes, just make those changes at the half, because there wasn't even enough time to get into the match at that point. Like, to say, okay, well, have they changed anything? Like, how many touches do the
yeah,
guys have? What I mean, they weren't really building. And like, usually you make a substitution like that when like, something tactically is completely off. It wasn't because like, there was no breakdowns, nothing. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a carry on from what was happening in the first half, right? So, which is why I was just like, why wouldn't you just make this change at half? Just make the change at half. Like, 5 minutes in ain't changing nothing, right? So anyhow, like, he made the change, and Jackson was diabolical. I'm sure we mentioned that as well. He was just not good, and
we'll talk about Jackson individually because like
yeah,
he's talking point, bro.
yeah, he just wasn't very good, and I think his everything, like, when you can lean upon him to be, big up, when you can lean on him to be, just a guy that if he's not scoring, he's doing more to help the team. He wasn't even doing that. He wasn't even doing that. Like,
Oh,
his link up play was horrible.
should
Every
we speak
time
on
the
him
ball.
now? Let's do a little segment on
I
him
mean,
now.
I'm already here, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll continue on this rather than moving
yeah,
on,
yeah,
bro. Do you know what he's he's doing, which he's not even doing before. So before he wouldn't be scoring goals.
hmm
He's inexcusable. Again, I'm using elaborate words, meaning it's unforgivable. You should be scoring goals, Chelsea Football Club. I
for
know it's
sure.
not your fault. It's not your fault. You're 22 and you're not really a striker, but that's the club's problem. But we have to deal with what we're seeing on the pitch. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not even doing the basics anymore. Before he was holding up the ball quite well, making right runs and stuff. Now he's falling over his own feet. He's getting bodied. He's useless. He's not really a threat. He's still good at terms of like passing off the ball and stuff. His timing's improving from last
yeah. The
season.
ball that he released out, to Medwake into space was decent. Like, it was a
Yeah,
night
no,
and day
he done
ball,
that twice in the game. He did it the first
Yeah,
time, he did it again. He does that every now and again. Like he did it against Bournemouth for the Palmer goal.
Palmer
Like,
goal, exactly.
yeah, like he can do that. But the problem is up front when you need to be a threat, you're not even doing the bare basics because Mark Gui's coming on and he's not even doing anything special. He's not doing anything mad.
He's not doing nothing, man. What are we talking about?
He's not doing. What he's
He's
doing
just
is
running hard, man.
he's just doing the basics, and he's taller than him, and he's a bit more physical, and he actually helped in terms of occupy the centre backs a bit more. West Ham centre backs aren't great, by the way.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm not going to go that far, because I don't think that he had. I mean, if you ask Don will tell you the guy had
No. By the way,
direct impact
when
on
I
the
say,
game.
let me make it clear. When I say occupy centre back, I don't mean he was doing a Zlatan. What I mean is like
Yeah.
he gave them something to think about more than what Jackson was doing because him just
Well, I
being
mean,
there.
it
Hey, no.
depends on how you
Here's
see
an
the
example for you.
game.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
even for the goal we scored, the Neto goal, he went
Mhm.
up for the header first. He
Yeah.
missed it.
Did he win it?
No, but it's not about him getting
Jackson
it or
would have
not.
did that. Jackson
It's
would
not
have
the
did
fact about
that.
him getting it or not. It's the fact he actually went for that, and he was
Yeah, but
there. Which
it's not. It's one thing
subconsciously
to
means
just
the
like put
defenders
your.
are
I
looking at
hear what
him.
you're
That's
saying,
not
but
good.
it's one thing to put yourself about.
Hey,
Okay,
maybe I'm
sure.
clutching in it. Maybe I am.
Yeah, it felt like a clutch to me, because like I remember even Don was like, "Yo, man, hope you guys are watching how Gio is
Yeah.
like making a difference." I'm like, Star, don't throw stones at some glass house, man. Like, it's cool, he's doing all right, but like we just scored a goal, and it wasn't really a direct impact from what he was doing. Anyway, neither here nor there. I really did think that, like, the problems that we had with Jackson, and the reason why that Gio looked like he was doing better, is because West Ham were forced to open up, right? Like, when they scored the first goal, all they needed to do is sit deep and play compact and take away the spaces. As soon as we scored, they had to open up again, and we were hitting them. Like, the second half was up and down. You remember it just as well as I do. We're
Right.
up and down, up and down. We had numbers going one way, and they had numbers going the other way, right? So that's the type of game, and I said it in the first half too. As much as we want to be a possession-based team, a team that is control of games, we still are better on the counterattack. We're still better when we can break on teams with numbers, and we can't do
Yeah,
that when
we showed that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
And
the
it
chances
just
created were like when Enzo had time and space to get the ball edge of the box and hit a pop shot, or Madueke, he's getting the ball and he's got time to take on his defender. When we're having to press onto people and be the dictator, we don't do that well. Or we do, but it's heavily reliant on one individual, Cole Palmer.
Which is
Yes,
who? Yeah,
Sancho can do
yeah.
something. I feel as though, on this talk, which is a great point you made, I feel as though if we had a good striker, it would actually change a lot.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
gonna
what
lie.
would that do though? Because like
Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what you mean. What would change? What would change if we had a
Let me
great striker?
explain. I feel like the football we play.
Mm,
I know Isak it's a hot topic, but okay, I'm using his profile, not the fact he scored and he's hype and he's
okay,
not in the back of my mind because he scored today. His
okay.
profile, he's very technical, but he's
Hmm.
busy, he's
Hmm.
physical as well, and he's got a good like clinical finish on him. So we need something like that because I feel like Sancho likes give and goes. Palmer likes give and goes.
Hmm.
Neto likes to cross the ball. But all these players, they're playing with another winger in front of them. So there's no cutting edge. It's just the same movement, just with a guy up front who's a bit more clinical than the rest. Whereas I think if we had someone actually focused on doing that, but also who can actually be clinical,
Uh-huh.
it would help a lot more in terms of chance creation. It's a bit less predictable because you can either cross it or you can run to it, and he's physical. He can hold it up, and someone can run it behind. With Jackson,
I
it's
don't.
very much
I don't know if you get physicality from Isak. I don't know if you get that.
no
Uh,
physicality in terms of pace and movement.
okay, so just pace then. Okay,
Not
all right.
not bodying like Chris Wood. I'm saying like he's a
Okay,
bit different in terms of the way he's
okay.
perceived.
So how we use that word, because most people when you hear
Because
physicality, you think of
basically what
somebody
we're
that's going
doing
to
is
carve
putting
out
Gordon up.
space. Yeah, like somebody's
We're
going to carve
basically
out
playing with
space.
Gordon up front. Imagine Gordon a striker. That's what we're doing.
That's not a bad way of looking at it. But here's the other thing too.
See?
When we look at strikers, right? And this is what the difficulty is. A lot of these guys, like the Isaks, the Delaps, all these guys, they're scoring goals in space, right? So you're not seeing them play with a possession based team camped out in the final third, carving out space for themselves and scoring. You're seeing
That's
them
fair.
get on the break, run at teams. You find them in open space and you just bang a goal, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, when you're thinking about a striker, it can't just be somebody who we see just banging goals in a particular setup, because the way we play, the way we want to play on the Maresca is always going to be the protagonist. We always want to be on the ball, controlling play, and then we need somebody that's going to be able to occupy space, occupy the center backs, occupy the space, and then be able to carve out space in the box for themselves as well and get a
Mhm.
shot off, right? Because that's really what I want to see in a striker. I don't want to see somebody that can just run for days, because we have that in Jackson. He can do that. If we played more on the counterattack, you would see more from Jackson. I have no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. But the style of football we're playing right now, where we have basically two center backs occupying our center
Yeah,
forward,
yeah, yeah.
Cole Palmer coming deep to kind of like collect just to get space. We have no focal point in it. There's no connection to the focal point of the attack anymore,
That's what I
right?
mean. The focal point is missing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no connection, right? With Cole Palmer dropping deep, where's the connection to Jackson, right? If you have a number 10, you want your number 10 to link with your number 9, right?
Yeah, it feels like that's why I don't even want. I think it's a system. Yeah, I think we'll get
It's
into the
definitely the
system
system.
because the players themselves, I feel as like could work, but the system we're using is so specific,
Hmm.
and the players we have don't necessarily fit the bill, and even the ones that do fit the bill, they're not hitting the mustard.
So
But
who?
Neto,
Okay, so if you're talking about strike, or even Neto on the counter would be deadly. He's pacey, kind of tricky. He'd be deadly on the counter. Switches, but like because of how we're using him, like because we're looking
I
to
also do think I don't. Now I'm
yeah,
reflecting on what we're saying. I do agree we perform better on the counter. Look at the Wolves game, for
hundred
example. There's no
percent,
space. Like this
hundred
game,
percent.
there's evidence in it. Like it's not a coincidence. But what I would say is, even despite our system being how it is, we've still done enough in these games to win them.
Oh yeah,
So like,
absolutely.
I'm not looking at the last 7 games and going like, so someone put a gun to my head and goes, Ches, give me 3 main reasons why you've won 1 out of 7. I don't think I'd mention the system first.
You don't
Maybe
think
I
you
mention
mentioned
the subs.
Westford? What wouldn't you mention?
I wouldn't mention the system first. Maybe I'll mention the subs first, or I'd mention the unforced errors, and I'll mention the clinical nature. I wouldn't mention the system as much because
Mm,
despite our woes or our criticism of the system not being it for the players we have, I can 100% say in our last 7 games before the other game the other day, we should have won at least 3 of them. At least 3. So now if you win 4 in 7 and you draw 1 and lose 2, or you draw 2 and lose 1, what game do we lose? Ipswich and Man City. It's not so like embarrassing because you won the other 4, and we would literally be in second. For context.
Yeah, but you're saying it's not the tactics.
So I don't think
I would argue that it is though.
Telling me,
because,
yeah?
Okay,
you're telling me if we had an Isak or Delap up front, we wouldn't have won 1 game in 7.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
because like it's not. It's, hold on.
You know,
Let me explain to you what I mean though. Because while those guys might be able to make a difference, the problems are twofold. It's not that we're not scoring goals. It's that we're not keeping them out either.
No, we're not scoring goals. We're not.
We're not scoring goals, but we're not keeping them out either. So when we're not able to defend leads. So then when you're talking about like, games that we should have won, the reason why we should have won is because we should have been able to just see out the match. We should have been able to bring somebody off the bench to just shore up our defense rather than trying to look to kill the game. That's the problem I've been having with Maresca the last little while. He's always looking to be a protagonist and not looking to be balanced in what he wants to do offensively and defensively. We could have just like soaked up pressure, brought out another defender, play with 5 at the back just to see out wins sometimes, just to see out the win. And he's reluctant to do that. He's always looking to get the next goal, and it exposes us at the back when we have defenders that aren't good defending 1v1 like we saw against Man City. And, we have a mistake-prone back line, an unsettled back line. So he's putting more pressure on these guys to be the difference makers for us. And at the same time, we're not scoring enough goals. So the problem is twofold for me right now.
I agree with you. I by the way, I'm trying to deep you.
I don't know who S is, but I agree with that. We are better in transition than we are. Even when you think of like
100%. We agree on that. We're 100% in transition. 100%. Jem also makes a comment before I respond to what you said, bro. He says, big up Jem by the way, fortune. Box present striker, finishing, chance creator, which we do a lot, would have meant we won more of our games. Not Jem, that's literally what I'm saying. Despite what Kyle is saying about the defense, despite the acknowledged unforced errors we have every single game, if we just had one box striker, we'd 100% be second place.
You guys are forgetting the games where we didn't even create one chance.
I'm not hesitating when I say that, even with the defense. Because the games we drew, we would have won. And even arguably, the games we've lost all been small margins, other than Man City. That's the outlier. The Man City game is the only outlier I would say we didn't deserve anything out of that game. But every game we've lost this season, I genuinely think there's a chance we could have drew that game a bit more clinical. Even the Liverpool game, that was what Couch is saying about the defense. The Liverpool game was more the defense. I agree. But the other games weren't all like that. The Ipswich game wasn't necessarily
I think the games... I'm not saying that, like, as much as I want a striker, I agree with you. I want one too. I don't think that our problems begin and end there. I think there's a lot of problems. I think our goalie is a problem. I like what I saw from Jorgensen the other day. He did give it away a couple times, but like I thought he was solid enough. He looked like a little bit of crocodile eyes on the first goal, though. Like his arms would look a little bit too short. For me,
you know what?
Am I wrong?
That's goal, yeah. Do you think someone said it in Twitter and my chat? They're like, I could have done better. I don't. It's really harsh because like
it looked kind of crocodile army, man. I'm not gonna lie.
But it is good then, yeah. If you play football, he's very close to the goal, Bowen, by the way. Like in TV, it doesn't look that close. In real life, he's very close to the goal.
Yeah.
He's left-footed. He's a stronger foot. Bowen's a finisher.
Yeah.
It's a hard finish for him to do, and he's got his pinpoint. Like, could he have done better there?
It looked like he could have did better. I'm just saying, like, it didn't strike me as like a clinical finish. Like, it looked like, I don't know. I'm not gonna swear for him because I thought he had a decent game. Yes, big up. Yeah. So Jem's saying the issue isn't that we don't create; it's that we don't take our chances, and our wingers don't. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I don't know
what
if
he's
it's
saying
true.
It is true, man. The defense is improving, 100%. I'm not neglecting. I just think strikers.
What's your preferred back line? What's your preferred back line right now?
What are we saying? Like
with the injuries or without the injuries?
yeah,
No,
that's literally what I was
as of right now, what we have
saying. As
healthy.
of
If
right
it's not,
now, I'd say
if defense is not a
obviously
problem, then what's your back line?
no. I never said it's not a problem.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah,
just don't.
yeah, I don't agree with that. But the defense is a problem right now, but you guys carry on.
No, the
it's
defense
both.
is a problem. The defense is a problem. Let's make that clear. I just think that despite the defense stayed exactly the same, but the variable of up front changed. I think we'd have more wins. You would
Closer to
argue.
Chalaba.
You would argue though that would still maybe have a few more draws because we could see more goals, but that's still more points on the board. Is my point. Us not being able to score in the last 7 games is the reason why we didn't bail out our wins. The previous one before this, when we were conceding goals, we were scoring loads of goals.
Okay.
So yes, you could argue the defense. If a defense is better, you concede less, therefore you need to score less. I agree with that. But that problem is harder to change, especially with the system. The striking issue.
What problem?
The striking issue was solved.
The defense is the problem?
No, that's saying the defense, is a harder problem to change because that's a systemic issue we've had for years. And the players we've got, you can argue about the quality, so you have to replace some of them, which is a bit more difficult because of money, whatever. Cool. The striking issue was bearable 18 games in. The last 7 games is noticeably declined as a result of our performances and the points going down. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm not denying that.
Everything staying the same, our defense stayed the same, our attack got worse.
Our defense has not stayed the same. No way.
I
would say our results.
But what do you mean? Our defense being
our results have changed. Our results have changed since Fofana went down. Like since Christmas when Fofana went down, that's when
I'd argue Lavia after that, but yeah. Absolutely.
So you're not saying that's okay? Let me ask you a question, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think that's more of a hindrance on the points than Jackson being how he is right now?
Say again?
What's been more
I get what you're saying.
What's been
go ahead,
it's a tough question to answer, but what would you lean towards being main issue why in the last 2 out of 8 games you've won it? Lavia and Fofana being missing, or Jackson being missing?
Well, I don't know. I think it's
you know the right answer here. Come on.
I think it's
Jackson.
both. It's not Jackson.
Nah, it's more.
Man.
I'm saying what's more that I think it's more.
So because he's not scoring. Because he's not scored, like there's more players on the pitch that can score goals. Madueke could score goals. Palmer could score goals. Like it's not just down to Jackson not scoring goals.
It was start of the season. That's the thing.
Okay.
What do you mean? We're down to him scoring.
No. The point is at the start of the season, we were all surprised because we were scoring a lot of goals from a team that scored goals last season, but it was kind of spread. But we were surprised that Jackson was clinical. Then you had Palmer, and then you had people chipping in here and there like Sancho 1-2, Madueke Wolves, Neto 1-2. Cool. So it was sustainable. We're like, oh, Jackson scoring a lot, Palmer scoring a lot, and we're chipping in. Then Fofana and Lavia go missing. But we're still conceding goals for context in the start of the season.
But we're seeing out matches. We're still seeing out matches.
Jackson has noticeably declined massively. We then now can't score goals, but we're still conceding at the same rate. Chelsea don't concede loads of goals. It's just 1 or 2. But because we're not scoring any, now those 1 or 2 goals are turning into draws and losses.
I'm gonna address the point. Like, I think the problem with Jackson specifically is that in the last couple of games, name anyone you want, the Ipswich game, Everton, any game you want, he's had one at least clear-cut chance on goal, and he's fluffed his lines, right? And I think that's why everybody's targeting Jackson. But the reality is, Cole Palmer in the second half has been sleepwalking for the last 7 games, up until the last game, to be honest with you, and has gone unnoticed. People don't say a word about it, right?
Of course.
So my thing is, it can't just be Jackson and his, because if we're looking at Jackson's efficiency rates, by the way, it's not like he's dead last in the Premier League. It's like he's actually up there. He has a good conversion rate. It's just he's not. In my opinion, Jackson's an inside forward, but that's a separate conversation for another day. Right now, if you're talking about the issues between attack and defense, right, I do believe they're equally as important. I believe people think we could just get away with the defensive ones because the reality is if we put 1 goal past in each of these last 7 games, it's a completely different conversation. That's why everybody's looking at the attack. but Couch brings up this point that I think people are really not considering or just not addressing the importance of. We are not able to control games. We are getting away with attacking efficiency in some games and some lucky saves in others. Shout out to Sanchez when he's actually good. So it's like, my issue is if you are controlling these games, because Chelsea more likely than not are at least going to put a goal on the board. So if we could control games better, I argue with Couch's point that it's easier if we, get some defensive solidarity into the team, and that has something to do with tactics, not alone just the personnel, than it is, let's just put a striker in it and that'll fix everything.
Here's the other thing. I still think that like when you talk about like struggling to score goals, you can still see a match if you're solid defensively. Like when you're struggling, when your striker's struggling and he's not really hitting the mark, and you're up 1-0, and you're still probing to try and get that second goal to kill the game, knowing that you have a misfiring, striker department, that's when you look to be more solid defensively, bring more solidity onto the pitch. And we just don't do that. We play one way and one way only. So for me, that's what's become the major issue right now, is that we keep on probing for goals that aren't coming. And then in the interim, we're leaving ourselves wide open with defenders that can't defend 1v1, right? So I'm not convinced that the problem completely hangs on Jackson. Yes, I want another striker too. As a matter of fact, you guys don't want to hear what I have to say, but I still think that Nkunku should be playing more as a striker. I can't buy this idea that a guy that is so clinical in the box cannot find a position on the pitch for us. I just can't.
So you would be arguing Maresca's not using Nkunku properly as a forward. If you have
a killer like Nkunku,
that's what you're trying to say.
You have to try and find a way to get him on the pitch. I'm sorry.
I can't disagree with that.
And like, if it meant, because we're talking about in the chat yesterday at the game, I was talking about like maybe I was begging for Madueke to come off because he was stinking up the place, man. To be honest, right? Like he was struggling, right? Wasn't giving us anything, and I was like, why don't we just move Cole Palmer to the right, bring in Nkunku in as a number 10, and then be done with it? And he doesn't want to do that. He just continues to persist with Cole Palmer, who is out of form, and continually pushing the same tactics down our throat when we have an absolute killer on the bench.
I think we're getting to like a roadhead here. One sec, boys. We're getting Dennis. One sec. You lead. One sec.
Yeah. No, it just comes down to that for me. Like I'm not one to believe that. I know he's not your out and out striker. He's not a guy that can, specifically lead the line for you, like press relentlessly, and be a guy that is going to like, he's a great link up man for sure. I think that if you played him with Palmer, you'd find them linking up a little bit better. But it's just I refuse to believe that you cannot find a place on the pitch for this guy, because there are better managers than Maresca that have been able to find that guy on the pitch and use him effectively. I'm just saying.
This is the thing, boys.
I've seen better managers use Kai Havertz up front, man. So I find it hard to believe Nkunku can't get a shout or can't be effective up there. But go ahead,
100%. We're getting to a good talking point, and I'm only got 15 minutes left. We're getting to a sick talk. We will talk again soon on this.
Yeah.
But we're starting to realize that the system is not getting the best of our players. It's just not.
No.
Now, are we being reactionary?
Reactionary?
Maybe.
Of course we are. Of course
we are. Exactly. Of course we are. Because guess what? We have 2 wins in 8. This is football, guys, in a nutshell. When you win, things are a bliss. You can ignore certain cracks. When you lose, the cracks become, caves. And you start noticing it. Do you know what I'm saying? And we're starting to notice these things because we're not winning. So shout out the man on the panel, who are very smart guys. You have to be analytical about it. The problem is the system. You can't tell me that Nkunku can't strike a ball up front. I don't care if he's not 6'2", with loads of muscles, pushing 100 kg. That's in the UK, by the way. I know in America.
You want me to give you? Nah, you're good. But you want me to give you an example really quick, not even to interject? Enzo was at the beginning of the season, and people don't talk about it. A lot of people thought it was because of Enzo individually as a player, which, yes, some of his defensive frailties, right? But the real dark horse no one was talking about is that Maresca was using Enzo incorrectly. And as soon as he started using Enzo correctly, and I somebody better than me
What is
tell me
correct?
what exactly.
What is correct? What is correct? You tell
He
me.
plays as like a 8 now, isn't it?
He's
I
playing
think he's
more
more of
as in. I
No,
got
no,
you.
he plays as the 8.
He's being deployed more as an 8. The argument is he better as a deep lying playmaker? And that's the argument we have about Enzo in a
I think,
nutshell.
you know what the funny
In
thing
this
is?
system, though, in this system.
Hey, boys, in the system, what's he really going to do?
Yeah, no, because I know what Couch is about to say, but my point is we have Maresca's system. So it's like that also has to be
All
taken
I was
into
gonna
account.
say, all I was gonna say was everyone like blazed Pochettino for how they used Enzo last year. Blazed him. Oh, you can't play there. You can't play there. Look at this. Look at this. And I kid you not, he's playing the exact same role under Maresca that he did under Pochettino right now.
This is true as well.
And it's like, what are we dealing here? What are we doing here, man? Like, which one is it, right? So, anyways, I don't necessarily believe that like I said, I think that the problems go deeper than just personnel. I think we have to devise a system that exalts the strengths of the players that we have and mitigates the weaknesses. Like, what are one of our weaknesses right now? Defensively, we are poor. We are just so poor, and we do not have a system in a setup that sort of like masks that deficiency. We're just playing one style of football, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how to beat Chelsea. You know, give them the ball, let them play, let them push up, get like really.
Yeah,
it's not hard. Like push.
No, that's literally what West Ham tried to do, and it really worked.
It almost worked.
Literally one deflection away.
He got it wrong. Huh? It was working. First half, he got it wrong, and that's what I was debating with Couch in the chat. Was like, did the changes come soon enough? And actually, they did. But I was like, we should have made the changes at the end of the first half. It should have been time substitutions because you could tell Potter in the first half had those numbers.
What about the changes worked? So one thing he did was put Neto on the right, which is obviously good. Neto's good.
Got taken off first. Yeah, the order in which he took them off as well.
If you notice, Nkunku wasn't playing up front; he was playing like the left half space, like left 8 sort of thing.
Yeah, totally
as well, because he was able to 1-2 with Palmer before he came off. And yeah, it looked kind of clean when that tactics kind of changed up. It actually looked kind of nice. Like it opened up the game a lot more. Maybe because West Ham were a bit more tired, maybe. But what about that changes you, man? Did you look at and go, "Rah, I've noticed this, this, and this"? Because it definitely changed the game. Like, the game completely changed. It was a lot more open. It was a lot more fluid. A lot more passes going on.
I'm gonna say the quick, simple one.
That's what a good game. Was it just him? Who was it?
Different combinations, brother, and other players being better at other positions. So I don't know why, and like people always have this argument about Neto left wing, right wing. Like Neto, to me, the best we've seen him, at least in a Chelsea shirt, has been when he's been on the right. So to be honest with you, as soon as he put Neto on the right, I'm not saying it was a different Neto. I'm not saying he had a superstar performance, but that was one of his top 2 performances in a Chelsea shirt. So my thing is, I think he put players who suit the position better into that position, i.e. Neto, right wing. And then he gave different combinational efforts. Example, Nkunku being in that left half space in between 10 and the 8. So that's just my simple answer. I don't know if you guys want to, analyze it deeper or just like go into like the actual tactical. Remember, style of play does not change. It's overload the wings, fast, quick, pacey wingers, overlap our fullbacks, and create chances in the half spaces to get to the goal. Like, that's our style of play. Let's not, overcomplicate that. But let me know what you guys think.
I don't know. I don't know if we changed a lot about how we played. I just thought that the personnel gave us an ejection. Like where guys were getting fatigued and stuff like that, or not just being ineffective. He made the right substitutions at the right time. Like you guys heard me. I was banging on about like what I saw. I was banging on about that, and Sancho, I don't even remember him having one impactful movement in the game. I don't remember him doing anything. And we have guys on the bench who, he's paid a mint for that weren't getting any opportunities to play. Like, it's like, why you keep sticking with this exact same setup, exactly the same every time, and expecting different results?
He must really not trust Felix and the like.
Well, Felix didn't
even you and a couple of them.
Here's the tactical switch that I think was the major one, and you already touched on it, Ches, where he said, he was playing that Nkunku in the 8-10. That would be where Felix would have been playing. That would be exactly where Felix would have been playing at that same stage of the game. That we've seen it before when we went a 4-1-4-1 and we saw him come in and play that exact same role. It just looked better for me having Nkunku there because Nkunku wasn't really looking to, licks and tricks.
So are you saying you would take out Enzo and put Nkunku in that role then?
Did he take off Enzo? I don't think so.
No, but
I think he just dropped Enzo back.
No. He didn't take Enzo. No. I think Enzo started playing deeper.
So wait, who played on the left then? It was him.
Left what? Left 8?
Who's playing left wing?
It wasn't Nkunku.
After the changes or before the changes?
Okay,
cool. So he wasn't really hugging the touchline, right?
Yeah, so he took off Sancho and then brought on Neto, but Neto played on the right and he put Nkunku on to play in left half space instead of left wing. Okay,
right, cool. And then the width was coming from
the right hand side.
The fullback, the right hand side.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's
happening. Oh yeah, Mark on the left, and then that was actually quite a good. Yeah, that's quite a good change.
But remember, the style of play does not change. The fullbacks invert to create more overlaps on the wing, but he just changed the personnel, and then because Nkunku naturally isn't going to touch.
That's disingenuous though. It did change a bit because if you play Cucurella out left, there was no roadrunner in the middle, only Enzo.
What do you mean, Caicedo?
That's a big change.
I'm confused. What do you mean?
No. Exactly? Yeah. Explain a little bit before I clarify.
For example, next game he plays Cucurella as the marauding left winger.
Yeah.
And then he plays the back three. Obviously, it could be James, Austin, whatever. Yeah. And then he'll play Nkunku instead of Enzo, for example.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
The approach
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that.
Nkunku, he wouldn't do that. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's a big change. That's what he did in the second half, though.
No, but he wouldn't have substituted Enzo for Nkunku.
Enzo for Nkunku, yes.
I can see
Sancho.
Team. Okay.
Yeah, I could see that happen. I think that's what you're doing when you're chasing the game. It's not something that you do as your base setup. Your tactic going forward, right? Yeah.
So I think that's the differentiating factor in this game is that for once, instead of Enzo, let me say Maresca because we obviously have Enzo the midfielder. When Maresca saw the game was getting out of hand, he actually changed it. I'm not saying he completely revamped his style of play or like we went into a mid-block or no, but he changed the personnel and how we were attacking West Ham. It was clear to see because as soon as he made those changes, we started breaking them down.
So I don't even know if that was the case, to be honest. I don't even know if we broke them down per se. Like we didn't really create chance after chance.
No, we did get lucky. We did get lucky.
We got a couple goals. But nothing. It wasn't like out of like incredible creation on our part, right? Like it wasn't like
one was a deflection. Yeah,
we don't really do a lot of the. Like in games, where you see teams pepper a goalkeeper. Our system doesn't allow us to do that.
We don't do that. We do not.
Oh wait, quick opinion. So would you guys just say it's a good win for the result or for the performance? I just want to make sure we're clear.
I just thought it was 3 points.
The performance was that bad.
I thought it was 3 points. Okay. That's it, man. Nothing more than that. 3 points.
Obviously, I don't care about performances versus if we scrape the top 4. Okay, that's a lie. I don't want to scrape the top 4.
You can't scrape the top 4 now. You know what I mean?
No. I'm
like after.
I think what I said. I don't want to scrape top 4. That stinks. Nah. But if we manage it and we get top 4 playing like how we did the other day, most games, I don't care.
So no. Based on both of what you said, I'll put it to you this way: as far as the last 8 games go in the reactionary tip, because what I saw on the last. No, we could have finished second. There's a lot of things we could have done.
We should be second right now. We should be second.
But there's inadequacies in the squad, in the tactics, and there's just things that need some improvement. But I say it like this though: if Chelsea Football Club finished 4th or higher, this is all reactionary. It doesn't matter because we all agreed at the start of the season, this is an inexperienced squad, inexperienced manager, and these are our standards. These are actual goals that we need to at least somewhat respect our standards, and so on and so forth. So if we get top 4, we win the Conference League. My targets have been met for this present season. Establish a style of play. We have that. Get that trophy. Hopefully we get that. It would be a disgrace if we don't. Get top 4. We need that Champions League money. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I disagree. Because
why?
Expectations change in the season. So I agree with the hindsight, Meaning, if we get top 4 and the Conference League, I said in the Navra Friday the other day, I'll be happy with that. They're like, oh, why are you happy with that? Because it means we can win a trophy in Europe. I don't care what trophy it is, and we can get top 4. So the level of
I'm
consistency.
petty. I just want to complete the set. The only team to win all the trophies.
And I want to win it. We need to win a trophy. So
Agreed.
I'll be happy. If we get that, I'll be more than happy. Like, I'll be very happy. But I'll also be a little bit disappointed because the team showed we can get to a very high level for a large part of the season, for half the season. Then to fall off, I don't care if people want to label it as leveling out, found their level. It showed we could get there.
I don't think that's what it is.
Maybe it is, but I more view it as like, cool. We've shown 18 games we can hit this level of consistency. How can I improve the team to a point where I can get that for 85% of the season?
I think the players that you rely on. I think the players you rely on.
I'm saying that I'll be happy with top 4, but at the same time, I'll be like to you lot, in the summer, we're doing the same streams every week. I'm saying to you lot, guys, I want to push for a league.
Yeah,
so
but like, again, it's all about first and foremost, a couple of things. You guys said a couple of things here, and the first thing is yes, top 4, top 3, top 5 doesn't matter. It's Champions League because we're not going to be able to attract those top names, those players that you want to come in and make that difference without Champions League football. That's first and foremost, right? Yeah, I would like a trophy. It's not really one that I'm going to be like jumping about. It's Conference League. We should never be in this tournament. Never. So I'm not really, as much as I want it, it's not because I desire it. It's because we should be winning that thing. And if we don't win it, it's a disappointment. But it's not something I'm fiending for in any way, shape, or form, right? Okay.
Fiending.
No, for real, man. Like I'm just not on that.
Fiend is like it's a slang word everyone uses. It's funny.
Yeah, man. So the next thing is now, when you're talking about whether or not this team can get to that next gear. And can we actually, challenge and were we challenging the bigger or did we fall off? I don't necessarily know that to be true. I think what we got to show is that we could stay healthy because when you lose key injuries, like I don't want to keep harping on it, but I don't know how to state how important Fofana was to how we're playing the season. I don't know how else to say it other than to say that he was very important to our foundation. And when you lose a guy like that, and you replace him with Disasi, Tosin, Gusto, like those guys don't possess the same. They don't allow you to play the way you want to play when you have those guys in that position, right? So,
Colville was a better defender when Fofana was in the team. You're absolutely correct.
Absolutely, of course he was. Of course he was. That was a good partnership.
100%.
That was a good partnership.
Go ahead, Couch. You're landing some fun.
For us to challenge and get back to a position where we're consistently, amongst the top 4, top 3, top 2, we just have to show that we can stay healthy. I don't think that we have a depth of squad that is capable of playing the way that Maresca wants to play. So we can like for like everywhere all over the pitch, right? Yeah, it's like we have one player that is specifically good enough to play in that role. When that player falls out of form, you're looking for Tosin to come in. You're looking for who's our backups, number 8s. We don't even have any of those right now, right?
They don't have them. On loan or another club.
You know what it is, boys? Because last point from you and Devin, I'll let you have one point each before we go. The sporting director is on the thumbnail, and we didn't get to speak on him as much because I've got to go quite promptly, but we'll speak about it another day. But I actually don't not believe in the team. I do believe in the team. So Couch makes a great point about the depth. Maybe I overrated our depth. Maybe that's fair to say. Maybe a lot of Chelsea fans saw the names we had and went, wow, we've got loads of depth. And then as football shows, it's not as always good as it looks on paper. So when you miss your key starters and you bring in your replacements, by proxy, they're not going to be as good. But for us, there's been a massive drop down. And not necessarily their energy level. Like Tosin's energy level is fine. Like he shows an element of leadership sometimes. But it's just the pace and the awareness and those small margins is what we're missing right now. And Lavia as well, the way he can hold on the ball, even though he's young and not experienced. He's so good on the ball that that is the experience, him being good on the ball. So that I do believe in the team. Like I do believe that if Chelsea do what I think they will do, which is get a striker in and add to the team the top quality players we developed, like maybe the goalkeeper, we improve with Philip, or Santos comes in and you add, there's no reason why the team can't push for a league. But goes back to our first conversation, I'll let Devin land as well, is the manager. He needs to find a way in these next 14 games to manage top 4. This kind of shows where we're at. Because if we're going to trust in you as our manager, we don't want to be doing the stop-start thing again and not get top 4. So we need you to create a system or edit your system slightly to include Nkuku's, to get in Neto in his best position. If Jackson's playing poorly, trust Mark Gui or Nkuku up front. Know what I'm saying? You can't keep a system with the same thing. And if you do, and you don't make top 4, then we don't have a choice but to look at you. Because you can't play this many games and show this level of tenacity with the subs and stuff, and then all of a sudden start being stubborn and it's leading you to get 2 wins in 10 or 3 wins in 11. You can't do that.
Brother, in the consistency of the game, it's a sackable offense if I'm being so real with you, and I don't want to be reactionary on the manager. I really didn't like Poch, but I don't think his performances and his results were enough to say, okay, he has to go. But we told Poch he had to go for finishing, what, 5th, 6th? So if you, like, example, you finish under what Pochettino finished last season, after we were that clear in top 4, that's a sackable offense, in my opinion. Because you can't tell me, no, I'm not saying it's to start a whole, like, let's destabilize the club thing. I'm just saying, like, obviously still keep Maresca, but that would be disgraceful because it's like, even though we have these injuries, like, we all agree this squad is good enough to see out top 4, correct? Does anyone disagree with that statement?
It's going to take some doing, but yeah, we should be there.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is,
hey guys, I'm touch and go. It depends on our injuries.
No, I hear that, but I just say it to not be, reactionary and cap off the game. I'm just glad to see there was some bottle in that game, that the players bit down the manager. He bit down and changed his tactics just slightly, just did a little tweak, changed the personnel up, and we were able to see a very good win as far as, the style and how the game was going. All I want from Maresca is we don't have a hard enough schedule at the end of the season for you to tell me we can't get top 4. So just see it. I know we have hard games. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is we had 10 very easy games. We all agree. And we decided to fuck about. Excuse my French.
Yeah, I get his point.
Okay. So, let me say it like that. Let me correct myself. We fucked about with our 10 easier games. So now I don't want excuses in this last 14.
By the way, we're going through another easy run now. By the way,
after the City game,
was the first one. We got Brighton away, which we always win at. By the way, we don't lose Brighton away. Just saying for context. Then we got Leicester, Southampton, Aston Villa away. Aston Villa away will be tough, but we didn't lose there last year. I think we'll lose. I'm just being real. I think we're gonna lose. I think we'll beat Brighton and Leicester though. So if we get 2 wins in a row, a loss to Aston Villa and 2 wins, that's fine. That's enough.
Exactly.
But guess what? If you told me we would have lost to Ipswich, bro, random. I have to go in it, but I'm so annoyed, man. Yeah, I let Dennis land his point. Finish with Dennis' point. Yeah, when we lost to Ipswich, it was New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, or 30th of December, whatever it is. Yeah, that's when I looked at myself and said we haven't changed. Because before that, I was like, oh, yo, Chelsea's actually winning games we need to win. There was one game week, boys, where I think everyone dropped points and we won. Do you remember that? And we were like, raw. Chelsea's changing, man. And then Ipswich. And then
Everton.
Palace. And then Everton. And then we're like, oh, this is the Chelsea we know. This is the Chelsea we know. Because we've seen this Chelsea since Champions League. That's a flipping fact. We've seen the same Chelsea. Unlucky with injuries. Every single team we play, they're in great form. Every single team we play, their best player comes back fit. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't want to see us doing the same thing. And then you lot will tell me, why am I negative? Because I've been seeing the same systemic pattern for the last 4 years. That's why I'm so negative.
I went from my 20s to my 30s and I'm still saying the same shit.
Bro, I went from uni to now working a job and life, and things haven't changed. Why? So
man said I changed, but the club hasn't changed.
Oh, I said it the other day. I said to you on the text. I said, if we didn't beat West Ham, that's me done. Mums, I would have been like, I would have still supported the team, but I wouldn't be as what's it called, infused.
Yeah,
I'll
you'd
be a
be
bit
quiet
like,
because
yeah,
you know what it would mean the rest of the season. There was a muscle.
yeah. Like if we
It really
drink
was
that
a
game,
muscle.
boys, let's be honest. Top four is done. That's mentality. That's our mentality finished. Can't draw
Yeah,
at home.
yeah.
A lie?
No, it's true.
Forget we're still
So
going
there's no
against City.
excuse
I
for
don't care
Brighton
how
away to
dead
0.
City is this season.
Aston Villa away, I could somewhat like wave my eye a bit. I'm like, you know what? Aston Villa away, is a tough ground. Like, I get it. Like, a lot of big teams lose there. Cool. But Brighton away, nope. Leicester and Southampton at home. Now we're getting to Poch territory. Because Pochettino, guys, lost his job not because from January 2024 till May, it was because of the bad run. And this is our equivalent of a bad run. So we're basically doing the reverse of Poch, but a bit better.
Can I just? I'm just going to put my 2 cents on that because I don't necessarily think that Poch was let go because of that run.
We're done, yeah. This is it.
Cool. What? What do you mean? Are you just going to let me just take my one little piece of point and then let's cut me off? What do you mean, man?
Let Couch have the run. Go.
Okay, so here's kind of what I don't necessarily think.
Then we'll finish. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't necessarily think that Poch was let go because of the results, as much as it was the philosophy of the club. He wanted more control of the transfers. He wanted to be able to come in and say, "No, this is who I want to bring in for this particular reason." The club will want the sporting directors to be in charge of that. That was the philosophical difference, right? And when you have a guy like Maresca's is like, just give me the players. I don't care. Whatever. Bring the players in. He's not going anywhere, regardless of where we finish this year. Hope you guys know that. He's going to be here because he's a part of the brain trust that they are assembling right now. But I agree with you, Ches. Like, I think that we're in a point right now where, it's a knife edge right now. We can't just be expecting wins. We have to go out and demand it. We have to go out and take those wins, right? Like, I don't think that Aston Villa is a scary ground, to be honest. But to be honest with you, with the way that we've been so uncertain about how we've been playing the last little while, it's a place that you have to really take serious, when you're playing. So, yeah, like, we should be going into these games right now. Like, every game is like a cup final. I know it's like 15 games left, and we can't play that way, that level of performance from 15 games straight. But one game at a time, we have to have the right mentality. That's the one thing that I think has been missing from this club for the last few years. We just don't have that killer mentality. We have a young, immature mentality, whether it be, the attackers, the defenders, and midfielders. They just don't know how to win. They don't know how to, like, put their foot on the neck of an opponent and just, like, squeeze it out and come up with a victory. Like, every time we get into a big match, every time we play one of the big teams, our mentality falls apart. And it's not even so much. We're not even talking about teams that are traditionally. We're not even talking about teams that are above us in the table per se. I'm talking about teams like Manchester United, who have been struggling and floundering at all points in the season. We have struggled just to find a win against them. Struggled.
Like, it reminds me of Arsenal.
It's crazy.
In Arsenal before, they would lose to all the big 6 teams all the time.
Right.
All the time.
And then they're pamming the other teams.
Completely flipped. Now they don't. Now they've lost in 2-3 years. Not even one.
Right.
So it's mentality. That's why when we draw against Man U, I'm not surprised. I don't get upset anymore.
But the other thing too to take into consideration, and maybe this is something that we need to go back to.
We're losing 3-1. What did you two tell me? Nah, blood.
I didn't tell you anything. I wasn't too confident about Man City.
Yeah, Couch was quiet.
I was quiet. I don't trust Chelsea and Man City.
Yeah. Well, I think one of you guys were. I think it was mostly you.
But let me say this.
I told you we were going to draw. I think Don said we were going to win 3-1.
I said 3-1. We'd lose. You like be positive.
No, you said you would lose 3-1. I'm saying Don said we would win, and I said I'm a draw. And Couch was like, I'm not saying nothing.
I didn't say nothing. I don't make predictions.
Lose. I'm just saying that we haven't changed. The mentality is poor.
We should have City.
And maybe you know how many managers have come out and said you can't win with kids? We have the youngest team in Europe, one of the youngest teams in Europe. How many of the top managers would be fine with this setup right now? Like, I mean, the ones that consistently win. How many of them would be fine with this setup right now? I can guarantee you not.
They wouldn't be. That's why they're not here.
That's exactly why they're not here. That's exactly why they're not here. It's about having a.
And it's twofold. It's not just because of them; it's because of us. We don't want them. They don't want us.
Well, we don't want them because they don't believe in this youth movement, right?
Exactly.
Agreed.
So,
So yeah,
That's
that's
just
the
where we are.
bombshell. 1 hour in,
Yeah.
the mic.
Boom.
That's a sad note, man. Even though we won and we're happy with
Yeah.
the result, and we're top 4, we're in a decent position.
Yeah.
It's still not negatives because we're not naive. This isn't season over. Top 4's not in the bag. We're having this conversation. Shall I tell you the reason why? It's because we secretly deep down know it's the same Chelsea. Like,
No doubt.
like, subscribe. I will be back with the man. We've been sick to talk. We still got an hour in, even though I was
Matt
meant to
Black.
rush. But big up every single time to the 2Ds. Pause in the building. And big up Jem as well. Vasta, Jason, Georgie, all of you in the chat. It's my fault for not posting consistently because I had a lot more people in it before, but it is what it is. Back tomorrow as always. Have a good evening.
Man.
Or day
All right.
if you're in that side of the ocean. See you later, guys, in a bit.
Peace.